Hi everyone, this is a vinyl update, and it's been a little while since I've actually done one of these. I've been quite busy, but I have a big pile of vinyl to show off. And firstly, I'm going to start with some recent-ish Stereolab releases, or reissues, I might say. The band has been inactive for about a decade or so, and they've recently re-released some of their older records. I've got some of the stuff they did for Too Pure back in the early 90s, before they had their own label, Duophonic. Trying not to get too much in the glare. That was Peng in the group play Space Age Bachelor Pub Music. Yeah, got that right. And I've also got, these ones are really good. They're second and third album. The first ones I did for Duophonic. Transient Random Noise Bursts with Announcements. This is like the 3 LP edition. And it's a great record, it's one that I hadn't previously listened to a lot, I was more into sort of stuff like Emperor Tomato Ketchup, which come out later on. Also got this one, which I previously had on CD, Mars Zodiac Quintet, great album. Would say I prefer Transient Random Noise Bursts more, but great record. Also got I actually sold off a copy of this and sort of rebought it. I know this isn't a record that I particularly love that much, although I can put it on the turntable and happily listen through it. It's not Jethro Tull's Greatest Moment. What else have I been listening to? Oh, here's a good one. This is a new band that's just come out of Ireland. Fontaine's DC. A lot of people on the Idols fan page love this band, and they are really, really good. They are sort of a post-punk band. Very sort of cynical lyrics, and very much very Irish. But yeah, one of the best bands to come out of Ireland in ages. Right, what else? Carl Perkins. I bought this for £5 at a record fair a while back. Actually, it's quite a bargain, because finding copies of anything Carl Perkins related on vinyl is difficult. Well, in decent shape, There's more there at the record fair, which I wish I bought. Now, I hope I got all of these, or I picked out all of them. Let's see, this is all a bit of a mess here, but yeah, I've got some more Crowded House. I finished off my collection of Crowded House albums. Got the debut, not their best, but it's a bit dated production-wise, but it's still good songs. Time on Earth, this is a reunion record. Very underrated. I actually did quite enjoy that one. And so is this one, Intriguer, which was from 2010, their second reunion one. This isn't a bad album. This is actually pretty darn good on second thoughts. Although it does sort of tail off towards the end. And this one's Afterglow, which was a bunch of outtakes from, I think it's around, mostly from around the Woodface sessions, but there's a few other ones. I mean, the deluxe CD version of it's got sort of demos from what would be their 5th album, or what was planning to be their 5th album, but they split up in 1996, unfortunately. Would have been interesting to see how that would have turned out, but oh well. But they did come back with 2 brilliant records, so nothing to complain about there. Yeah, also one sort of artists that I've usually had a casual liking of, but not really been a fanatic of, is David Bowie. But recently I sort of changed my opinion on him, and I found myself actually listening to his music quite a lot. So I bought a few of his records. I mean, I'm not a fanatic, but Diamond Dogs. His Berlin trilogy. There's the other one, Lodger. And a couple earlier ones. Station Station. This one, Land Saint. Blah, blah, blah. What else have I got? Yeah, I've got a copy of Kiss Hotter Than Hell. This is probably their worst produced album. I think Paul Stanley said in his autobiography he kept on badgering the producers to sort of crank the levels into the red, and he reckoned the results were absolutely terrible. What else have I got? Yeah, Alice Cooper's Greatest Hits. I just had to get this one because one, it was in nice condition, and two, these are remixed versions of old classics. What else have I got? A big shout out to John Pickles from Weston-super-Mare, who very kindly braved the queues and on Record Store Day and picked this up for me. This is the Meat EP, or Meat/Meta EP by Idols, and I actually did a tape release of this, which is worth quite a bit actually. Somebody actually paid £150 for it, and I expect if somebody auctioned it off the day on eBay, it would go for a bit more because they are very popular. They had a top 10 album, really surreal stuff, saying a band that they were nobodies when I first heard them, now they're huge. And last but not least, I've got some Swervedriver. This one's Raised and this one's Mexico Head. Yeah, they were a very underrated band. They were thrown in with the shoegaze sort of bands like My Bloody Valentine, Ride, Chapter House, bands like that, but they were really a lot better. They were more of a grunge band, a British grunge band. Yeah, I've enjoyed these albums for quite a while, and when I ran a music blog, I actually did an interview with the frontman Adam Franklin, which was pretty cool. Which sort of reminds me, you know, it's crazy the amount of people I interview going to discover their music later and become big fans. I mean, going back to Stereolab, you know, I interviewed Laetitia Sadier about how long before I got into Stereolab, about a couple of years before. Although I did actually sort of interview Sean O'Hagan, who've done a lot of the arrangements for their music, and was at one time a full member. But yeah, that's one regret I've had. But yeah, that's about it for this video. So hopefully, depending on whether I have the time, I might do some more in the future. But until then, goodbye.